What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Fireworks, razzmatazz, parades, fun, excitement galore. And I wish everybody watching this United States the best of times today on your Independence Day, celebrating your breakaway from these isles and your own governance, which has gone pretty well for you. I think we can all agree. From the excitement and razzmatazz of July 4th to, well, today really, another day. Declan Rice still not quite over the line. Yuri and Timber deal not quite over the line. Some sort of speculation that there might be something wrong. I know people are living on their nerves a little bit and feeling like, why isn't this getting done? It is amazing to me just how impatient people can be when other people are doing multi-million-dollar deals. I have no idea how long one of these would take, but I do just want to remind you all, it is only the 4th of July. So there's still plenty of time for deals to be done. And we, I think, all know that Arsenal aren't going to stop at just Kai Havertz, Yuri and Timber and Declan Rice, although they are fantastic signings for a multitude of different reasons. With Granit Xhaka all but left now, departed for Bayer Leverkusen in an improved deal, with Thomas Partey apparently out there looking for a Saudi club to join, and with the likes of Sambi Lokonga not going to make it in the team, it does seem clear that if we're just signing, I know we're signing Kai Havertz as a midfielder, but Declan Rice, it does feel a little bit like we are the obvious destination. We're splashing cash for all of the newspapers to be talking and linking us with every available midfielder out there. Now, some of these there is a modicum of truth, a grain of truth to, and some of them just seem a little bit far-fetched. What I do is I just mention the 9 midfielders who have been or were linked with us and go through them, and to whittle it down to the top 5 or 6 and really see if there is a grain of truth to this or not. Now, the first one I'm starting with, I'm going to clear out some of them. We were in for Ilkay Gundogan. I think we made a big play for him. Man City did everything they could to keep him, but he chose Barcelona. Madison has gone to a small club somewhere on the outskirts of London. I honestly can't remember what they're called, but presumably he's gone into semi-professional or retirement mode. Joke aside, he has joined a shit club, and I'm not really fussed about it. I pity him. He has won an FA Cup though, so Tielemans was the other one from Leicester that left and was supposed to become to Arsenal, was mooted. Obviously, he hasn't. And Adrien Rabiot has done a U-turn and decided he wants to stay at Juve. So, with all of those, that leaves Lavia. I'm not going to talk about Lavia. I think enough has been said. He's a very promising defensive midfielder from Southampton. Obviously, they've been relegated. It looks like he's going. I've read over and over again that we're his favourites. I think we're waiting to get all the deals across the line to get to this one. But I'm not going to talk about Lavia because I think that will happen even if one of these other 5 don't come. But, so that leaves us the top 5 midfielders that we are being linked with at the moment. And they all have kind of running themes here. So the first one on the list needs very little introduction to Arsenal fans. We were all on tenterhooks in January to see if he crossed the line. In January, I thought the 70 to 80 million price tag was ridiculous. I have to say, I watched him a great deal since January, and particularly with the money going around at the moment, it doesn't seem quite as ridiculous. He's 21 years old, Moises Caicedo. But I think the reality is that, we were all talking about whether Rice and Caicedo would join. There was a lot of speculation about the Riceado. Would Rice and Caicedo both be coming to Arsenal? I felt that it was very possible. It now looks less likely that it's going to be possible. Chelsea really are in the box seat for this transfer. They've been doing all of the serious work with him, and now they're just agreeing terms with Brighton, which is not an easy thing to do. Brighton have no need to sell him, and are holding out for as much as they can get. So I don't know if that'll be done quickly, but apparently Chelsea have been talking to him every single day, and according to Rudy Galletti, that is where he's going to end up. Personally, I'm not quite as devastated as I thought I'd be about this, because it feels to me like, in direct contrast to the way that Declan Rice has handled his transfer, Moises Caicedo seems to do a lot of talking around transfers. And I'm not sure that he has quite the temperament for a title push, and I haven't seen enough of him. So for me on this list, Moises Caicedo is probably the least likely to come to Arsenal at this point, given his price tag, given how difficult it is negotiating with Brighton, and given just how much there is an interest in him from a host of teams. But as I said, Chelsea are front runners here at the moment. The next one is Gabri Veiga. Now he's at Celta Vigo at the moment, and he's recently changed agents. So a lot of people reading a lot into this. Now he's now with Pini Sahavi, obviously one of the world's super agents, somebody Arsenal have dealt with quite a lot. The question mark would be, why would you change agents to one of the world's biggest agents if you're not planning a move? Now, if you want a good look at him, I would suggest you watch the Spain under-21s tomorrow take on the Ukraine at 8 o'clock English time. It's available on the UEFA app if you haven't downloaded it yet, free to watch. I'm not going to pretend I've watched a lot of the games. The games I've watched haven't been great, but it's a great place to see these young players. And Gabri Veiga will be playing. A lot of speculation about his future. Arsenal are in the running for this one. They have inquired after him and they have shown interest in him, but there's nothing concrete at this point in time. And with the player away, it's unlikely there's a lot going to happen before they come back. Obviously, England are also playing tomorrow in their own semi-final against Israel, and perhaps England will meet Spain in the final. We'll get another chance to see him then. Gabri Veiga is a player that there is definite interest in, but I'm not sure how far it's gotten yet. Next up, Milinkovic-Savic. Now, the reality is I like and have liked Savic for a very long time. He's I think, one of the best players in Serie A. And his contract actually comes up not this summer, but the summer following. So Lazio are looking to sell him at the moment to see if they can get 30 to 40 million. Definitely worth it. And there's strong interest from Italian clubs. Matthias Kezman is his agent. Now, I don't know if you remember Matthias Kezman, but he played up front for Chelsea. So there's rumours doing the rounds that he's offered him to Chelsea a cut price deal, which is still in the thought of 30 to 40 million. Milinkovic-Savic is, I think, more a left eight than a defensive midfielder. And I think that's really the role that we have Emil Smith-Rowe and Kai Havertz and various other players who can play. So I don't know if that's the sort of midfielder that we, if we're looking to replace Xhaka and Partey, I think he could definitely play the role that Xhaka did. But here's the key thing. I haven't heard anything coming out of Italy that suggests that he's in the least bit interested in coming to the Premier League. I think we all just take it for granted everyone wants to come here. But I've not heard anything. He's kept tight-lipped. Who knows? Now, the next one is one that I don't know what you have to do in football to put people off a rumour. At the moment, it seems to me that because we're losing defensive midfielders, and we probably could do with a high-profile one, we're out there looking. We are showing interest in some of these players. So it comes down to Tchouameni. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but he's come out and said he doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, and Real Madrid have come out and said they don't want to sell him. This story just does not want to seem to go away. This morning, the first stories I read were all about him and how Arsenal apparently readying a £77 million bid or upward. I would be hugely surprised if this one happens. I think that there has to be more interest than Tchouameni is showing in leaving, or something would have to happen, and that doesn't seem the case yet. So I'm really unconvinced. Great player, only been at Real Madrid for a year, and that's why he wants to stick it out. And I think there is always a problem if you go and sign players who don't really want to leave the club they're at. But the biggest one for me, and one that I'd really like to see done, is he's a kind of precociously talented 20-year-old playing at PSV. Now, he came second in the goal-scoring charts, but that's not bad for an attacking midfielder, I think we can all agree. He was, when asked about the situation, he was sold by PSG to PSV, but they stuck in this lovely little buyback clause so they could buy him back for $6 million. Now, here's what's interesting about it. So he was playing really well for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ruud van Nistelrooy left PSV because he didn't feel he had the support. Looked like he was going to be sacked anyway. And so when they asked Xavi Simons about it, and he said, well, I can't really talk about staying at PSV until we know who the new manager is. He has spoken, I think he will have spoken to the new manager by now. But then he was asked about going back to PSG, and he said, well, they don't have a manager either. And it seems like that's a big sticking point for him. It's very difficult for us to know where he wants to go, for him to know where he wants to go, if he doesn't know who the manager is going to be. Now, does that give us an advantage? Certainly, we've talked about buying him. Now, the release clause for Paris Saint-Germain, by the way, is not one that would be open to everyone. This is a player who, he was brought up through the Barcelona youth ranks, La Masia. He went off to Paris Saint-Germain. He's still only 20 years old. He has been trained to play anywhere across the midfield and the attacking, just a sort of brilliant footballer in the making. I would love to see him come to Arsenal. It would be a really exciting acquisition for us. The amount is probably going to be, again, about the 30 million or upwards. There are a lot of teams interested in him. Most European teams at some point would be very interested in signing him. So, can it be done? It's clear that whether it can be done or not is going to come down to the player's choice. He has a plethora of options in front of him. He has a smorgasbord of options. And so I hope he chooses us. But look, I'm also not devastated if he doesn't. There's lots of players out there. He's 20 years old. It's very early to say. I think my one question mark, and perhaps you could clue me in, is, dare I say it, he may have a bit of an ego. You know, can we see an ego coming into the Arsenal dressing room? It doesn't really fit the kind of player that Arteta really likes. He likes the quiet, serious, studious, intelligent, confident players that aren't too braggadocious. But when it comes to flair and excitement, you do need a couple of these in there. So I'm really keen to hear what you have to think, like I always am. I've been loving your comments and loving the support that you've been giving me. Thank you so much for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're one of the few. Everyone else is doing it. You should jump in on the bandwagon. If you're stressed and worried about the Declan Rice situation, may I suggest just take a deep breath. You know, it's only early July. We have time. I don't know how long these deals take to get done. I know that Fabrizio Romano is saying it's very close. I can tell you precisely how close it is. It's as close as a stamp is to an envelope. If you haven't put the stamp on yet and you don't know where it is and you can't find the envelope either, I hope that clears it up for you. That's a breaking news story for me here. I know that Fabrizio Romano is saying it's very close. I can tell you precisely how close it is. It's as close as a stamp is to an envelope. If you haven't put the stamp on yet and you don't know where it is and you can't find the envelope either, I hope that clears it up for you. That's a breaking news story for me here. Listen, Declan Rice has come to Arsenal. So is Jurrien Timber. Kai Havertz is already here. Xavi Simons probably on his way. Let me know who else you'd like to see. Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is your Independence Day. Be lucky. Lots of love.